Hey guys, welcome to another Collectibles unboxing and review here on Nerd of the Rings. As promised, we have the Sword of Éomer today. As you'll recall, last time we opened up the Helm of Éomer, which is still rocking in my man cave. This thing is absolutely fantastic. And today we're opening the accompanying sword. So in case you're wondering how it's pronounced, it's Gúthwinë. That's what the two dots there. All right, let's get this thing open. I'm guessing this is the plate for mounting it on the wall. We'll go ahead and open that first since it's on the outside here. All right. All right, so here we have the wall plaque. It's got the horse design. Very similar to the Theoden one, but also slightly different. I love that, it seems like United Cutlery took some inspiration from Weta in, not making all the Rohirrim wall plaques exactly the same. Just like all their weapons and their helmets and stuff are not exactly the same, but they all take inspiration from Rohan's horses, which is cool. Oh man, I can already see the horse design going into this. Oh, I love it. Got the tip cover for safety. I haven't seen, maybe I don't usually get my swords new, but I haven't seen the shrink wrap on the blade usually. All right. Oh man. Oh, that feels legit. I love the feel of these swords. Honestly, this is probably one of the first replica swords I've gotten that I feel like I could actually wield this. Usually they're super heavy. Like I feel like Orcs is one. Back there in the corner you can see Orcs, and it's just super, super heavy. But this one I feel like I could actually kind of whip this thing around pretty easily. Yeah, we've got the leather grip here. And it's got the cool little golden braid in the middle of the handle, which is really cool. That's a cool feature that I hadn't noticed when I saw pictures of it online. I love the very top here. We've got on both sides a horse head, just a very noble looking horse in my opinion. I feel like that horse just has a noble look about him. So a great pose for a prince among the Rohirrim. One thing that I think is really cool about Gúthwinë here is the design of the horses going around the blade at the hilt here. So you've got one on each side. So as you flip it over, each horse head, one is curved on one side, one's curved on the other side. It's very, very unique. Among the blades that you see in the film trilogy. And it's not something that you might not pick up on. This particular sword doesn't get a lot of up close glory shots like some of the other swords. Like Andúril obviously is very iconic and very well known, and Sting and Orcs. There's a lot of swords that get a lot of close ups, and Gúthwinë is not one of them. But this sword gets a lot more love in the books. We get Éomer and Aragorn together crying out the names of their swords. He says, Gúthwinë for the mark. And Aragorn says, Andúril for the Dunedain. So I always love seeing, artwork and stuff of Éomer and Aragorn meeting on the field of battle and going to battle together. All right, so let's take a look at the certificate of authenticity that comes with the sword. Once again, it's rolled up pretty tight. Got another cool piece of concept art of Éomer, which I don't recall seeing. It might be in one of the art books, but I don't recall it off the top of my head. Again, we see credited prop makers Peter Lyon and Sean Bolton, and production designers Warren Mahey and Daniel Faulkner. There's again, Daniel Faulkner, been here on the channel, great guy. And it looks like we get roughly the same couple paragraphs that we got in the Helm certificate of authenticity, but the last few sentences here are specifically about Gúthwinë, so I'll go ahead and read that out. He wielded a royal sword called Gúthwinë, and used it to slay many Orcs and Uruks from Isengard that dared trespass into Rohan. Gúthwinë means friend in battle in Rohirric, or I've seen it translated battle friend. I guess they're both essentially the same. It was of a similar design and royal crafting as his sister Éowyn's sword and Herugrim, the sword of King Theoden. The bronze guard was formed in the shape of twin serpentine horse heads, one on each side of the blade, and the Meras, famed horses of Rohan, adored the pommel. So I was right that this is a very royal-looking horse. It is literally kind of horse royalty, being one of the Meras. And of course, you'll recall from the films they mention that Shadowfax is one of the Meras. The maroon leather-wrapped hand grip was crafted with a twisted metal ring in the center. 2 wide, fuller grooves ran the length of the blade to reduce the weight, yet still retain critical strength. This type of fuller was common among royal swords of the Rohirrim. And then it goes on to talk about the design of Gúthwinë, and how the Rohirrim armor designs were created with a strong Celtic influence and centered around horse iconography. And like I've said many times before, I just love the Rohirrim and their armor and their actions. I mean, who doesn't love the Rohirrim? Everything about them in the films and the books is absolutely fantastic. Some of my absolute favorite characters. And yeah, this is a pretty legit sword, I'm not gonna lie. I love the fact that I'm holding this right now. And pairing it with this helmet, man, I'm ready. If Aragorn walked through the door right now and said, we need to go to battle, I think I'd be ready. This helmet might be a little snug on me, and my sword skills might not be that great, but I'm feeling bold. Gúthwinë for the mark! So I thought it might be good to compare it a little bit in terms of size and everything to a couple of the other swords that I happen to have here. Andúril is obviously one that I know is very popular. A lot of people, I've seen posts on Instagram, people getting it for like graduation and job promotions and stuff. It's a very, very iconic sword. So you can see it is extremely long. That shot in the film where it pans up the blade just takes forever. So you can kind of see Gúthwinë here is a bit shorter, definitely more easy to wield though. Andúril obviously has the second, you can kind of go two-handed with it, which is nice. Gúthwinë is strictly a one-handed sword, as you can tell here. But like I said, this is the first sword I think that I've got in my collection, aside from Sting, that I feel like I could really just whip around and go into battle with if I needed to. And there, it talked about in the description the double grooves. As you can see, Andúril has a single groove. The Rohirrim swords tend to have the double groove, and so we'll go ahead and compare it to a Rohirrim sword as well. All right, so now we've got Theoden's sword side by side with Éomer's here. As you can see, definitely similar design, similar color on the handles. They obviously both really lean into the horse iconography, but they're distinct from each other as well. Like, you wouldn't confuse these two swords, which is awesome, for a number of reasons. For the films, it just adds a level of richness. And for collectors, it gives you a reason to get both, I guess. They're both really cool. I love the pommel, especially on Éomer's sword here. Theoden's has always been one of my favorites, partially because, even before I had read the books, he was one of my favorite characters. And it was only after reading the books that I found out that Éomer has a lot of my favorite movie lines. that are actually his book lines. So I have a whole another level of appreciation for Éomer, and I'll probably be doing a video on his life fairly soon here on the channel. So I remembered yet another reason why Éomer from the books is so awesome is that it's actually him that Aragorn speaks to when he says, "This is the hour that we draw swords together." And Éomer is present throughout the Battle of Helm's Deep. So in the films, you know, he shows up at the last minute. That character that does that in the books is actually called Erkenbrand. So Éomer is fighting side by side with Aragorn throughout the Battle of Helm's Deep. So definitely, if you haven't read the books and you're curious about Éomer, I highly recommend diving into the books or the audiobooks or whatever, because he's a fantastic character. I'm super pumped to have his helmet and sword here in the Nerd Cave. He's an absolutely great warrior of Rohan, great brother to Éowyn, and an awesome 18th king of Rohan. And I love that in the books, you know, it does a much better job of showing that Aragorn and Éomer are very much like brothers. They're definitely brothers in arms, and they become really close. And the fact that they become king of Gondor and Rohan respectively, it's just kind of a really cool microcosm of that Gondor-Rohan relationship at its best. But back to the sword itself, like I said, I'm a really big fan. It's going to be hard-pressed for me to find Lord of the Rings collectibles that I don't like, in full disclosure. But I love that this is a unique style from all the other Rohan weapons, and especially from the other Middle-earth weapons. Like, there's no mistaking when you pick up a Rohan sword or helm that that's the realm that it's from. So again, special thanks to United Cutlery, who sent me this sword to share with you guys. And if you're interested in checking out this sword or any of their other swords or the helmets, any of those cool collectibles based on the Weta designs, you can go to the link in the description and you'll see all their current offerings as well as some upcoming offerings. Like I mentioned earlier, there's some really exciting ones, and in particular some from Rohan that I'm really, really pumped about. Thanks again for watching, everybody. If you want to see more collectibles here on the channel, let me know in the comments what else you would like to see me review. I, in particular, really enjoy the swords and the weaponry, but I know there's a wide range of awesome Middle-earth collectibles out there. So let me know in the comments what you think I should review here on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings. Gúthwinë for the mark! I'm gonna hit my lens. Wouldn't that be awesome?